So, just how far will Donald Trump go to push his election lies? He's willing to apparently shut down the entire government over it. He's demanding that Republicans vote against any spending bill that does not include making it mandatory to show proof of citizenship to vote. But his reasoning is yes, he falsely claims that Democrats are registering illegal voters by the tens of thousands. And so far, his demands aren't working. 14 Republicans joined most Democrats to reject an extension that includes that voting issue. Donald Trump, once again, putting this election stuff back on the agenda. And I just want to play Trump once again talking about this. I think at this point we all know this is not the kind of thing that his advisors want him to be talking about.
I was told if I got 63 million, which is what I got the first time, you would win. You can't not win. And I got millions of more votes than that, and lost by a whisker.
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge it at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say that.
sarcastically. You
But
know
does-
that. It was said, "Oh, we lost by a whisker." That was said sarcastically.
It's just like a week apart. I mean, he is struggling with this in a real way, and it's doing damage to Republicans. I mean, on Capitol Hill, they do not want to shut down, or at least the ones who are.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm more mad at, right? I go back and forth minute to minute. Like, am I more mad at Donald Trump trying to sabotage good policy and good legislation and keep the trains on time, or am I more mad that we're at this epitome of stupidity again, and half the people in that room could pass a high school economics class and don't realize the damage that they're doing just to try to climb up an extra 15 likes on Twitter, right? Like, it infuriates me to watch us get to the spot. And if you really look at the mechanics of what's going on, we've already budgeted the money, and now we just don't want to write the check for it, right? Like, if we do that at home, we ultimately go to jail or get evicted or lose your car or your wife leaves you or something.
It's part of that bigger everything government is bad unless Trump is the one telling you how government should work, right? That's just the broader personality that we deal with there. But shutting down the government is one of those things that actually hits people in very personal ways when we talk about family and pocketbooks, economic table, all those different expressions. You're talking access to national parks, which are the only affordable vacations these days, frankly, for a family of four. You're talking about Social Security checks going out on time, tax rebates coming in time, and all of this boring work of government that is not nearly as sexy as talking about culture war issues. That's what's being funded right now, and people will feel the difference if it shuts down, and Trump is the one advocating for it.
But I also think it speaks to the sentiment that a lot of people across the country have right now, both Republicans and Democrats, that they're just sick of Washington, they're sick of government, they really don't like Congress, they feel like they spend all the money that they simply don't have. At home, we don't get to spend money we don't have, and I think, as all of us have heard time and time again, people don't want the government spending money they don't have either, and so I think that's why you see such a low approval rating with Congress. I was writing for Washington Times almost 10 years ago, back in 2015, talking at that point at how we were going to surpass $13 trillion of national debt and what a disaster it would be for our country. We're now at, 34, 35 trillion. I mean, this is an issue that really I don't think could be expressed and stressed enough.
I mean, just imagine if there was a different candidate that was in the Republican nominee spot, and they were able to lean into this as a forward-looking process, inject better ideas, inject teamwork, and and that's really what this whole play is about: is trying to get rid of Donald Trump out of the Republican Party. This bank shot that seems a little bit awkward some days I wake up, and try to figure out how to get a new Republican Party stood up that actually problem solves and works with the other side.
Yeah, I think
you don't think he did a good job at anything as president in that front?
No. Very little. I've got a fogged memory at this point. January 6th, the death threats on my family, $8 trillion worth of debt. Yeah, there's a few things that cloud my memory.
And so you can't be unbiased about the economy?
Which part about the economy? The $8 trillion that led to this hyperinflation period of time that we've got, that we as Republicans want to act like it's the
Do you think
Democrats'
the
fault?
economy was better under Trump than it is today?
I think it was different.
But do you think it was better?
No.
So you can't say it was better in
my life it
2019
wasn't.
than it
My
was in
business is doing
2022,
my business is doing better than it's
2023?
ever done. My house is worth more than it's ever done. My portfolio is worth better. Yes, I pay more for groceries, and yes, there are certain incremental issues around this. But at the end of the day, we're being disingenuous as Republicans, acting like Donald Trump got this right. He's not God.
You know what? A lot of
He's
people,
a loser.
nobody said he's done. A lot of people in this country can't afford the excess groceries. They certainly don't have the portfolio that's
the
growing.
reporting coming out after that debate, that presidential debate. Actually, a lot of undecided voters were saying,
On that question about the immigration bill, Donald Trump obstructing that, not from a seat of power, but from his role, is in the
But
Republican
we're
Party.
talking about trusting him on the economy and that polling as well, which is something that I think she had an opportunity
But I think people are
to
asking,
raise
hey,
the vote
what
on,
is
and she
this?
didn't.
If you genuinely care about immigration, why are you not backing a bill that would, protect the borders? It's a bipartisan bill that
I think
everyone
because
through
the
their
bill,
reality.
the bill had catch and release in it, which
So-
was a
so-
no-go
perhaps-
for even
So do you genuinely believe that Donald Trump thinks this spending bill was bad?
Yes,
you
I
think,
do.
Oh, you do?
I do generally believe that he thinks that.
I
You
disagree.
don't have to disagree whether it's good or bad, but he
So you
genuinely
don't think
thinks
it's
that.
good for him politically? You don't think he woke up this morning and this is going to be great?
Madison and Jeff, like
What?
this is an interesting conversation because I think you're both wrong. I don't think it's about the economy, and I don't think that it's actually politically beneficial to him. I think this is about Donald Trump.
Yes,
This is
of
about
course.
Donald
I'm
Trump
totally
not
with you.
wanting
Yes.
to acknowledge that he lost. This is about him continuing to try to make excuses about why the last election that he lost was actually free and fair.
So I think that's the only bit I disagree with you. I think this is more setting the predicate if he loses the next time.
Well, that is true.
But and that predicate is not only being set by his rhetoric. I want to be very keen on that point. Is that Arizona, there's an effort to invalidate 100,000 votes for ballots right now, rather voter registration, 100,000 voter registration. And let's not forget, Arizona was the one that Fox News called that started to tip the wave towards Trump winning. So that's a very particular state for him. Those 100,000, because if they don't have updated citizenship records, majority of those actually voters are older and Republican that might be kicked off on the rolls, but there's an effort in every battleground state to fight every single ballot tooth and nail to try.
Including Georgia, he's stacking the deck with our elections committee, which I didn't even know was a thing until I became lieutenant governor. But now we've got a voting majority to sow seeds of doubt in every corner of our state, just in case he needs to use that as a lifeline.
Yeah, and Jonah is right. It's not just about the last one; it's about the one that is coming. I mean, just a couple days ago, I mean, he was threatening proactively that he would jail election workers. I mean.
And former elected officials.
And former elected
If you want to
officials.
talk
Also
about
the-
who gets threats right now, it's the lady who's volunteering at the local county to, just make sure people are getting in line and they know where to go. And those are the people being threatened by rhetoric like that. It goes to
How
the
about the
idea
man
of our
who was
civic.
shot and almost shot a second time? I mean, this does not go one way.
So, back to what's going on locally in communities with real people who don't have Secret Service to help them out. That is part of the challenge, right? When you
Didn't seem to help.
invalidate the civic engagement and how we connect to those communities, and volunteers become targets. That's a problem.
Yes, I get back to the other point. It's just like, this is just terrible politics. I mean, Mike Johnson wants to get a budget passed because if they shut down the government, Republicans will be blamed for it. Whether you think it's fair or not, they will be blamed for it because they're controlling the Congress, and that will cost, in all likelihood, the Republicans control of the House. And Johnson is only doing this voter integrity thing. I'm sure he believes in it, and on the merits, I think you can believe in it, and that's fine. But he's only doing it to carry water for Trump, and Trump could very well be costing the Republicans the House, all to indulge his ego.
It shocks me. I can't believe it.
You would know. Coming up next, Melania Trump emerges from her silence not to campaign for her husband, but to defend, get this, nude pictures of herself.